Life can get pretty busy, and I know a lot of people who don't get through as many books as they really want to each year, and they say it's because they don't have enough time. While that's totally normal and unfortunate for a lot of people, especially people who really love to read, there are a few tips and tricks that I can give you to try and increase your reading numbers for each year if that's what you truly want to do. The first tip that I can give you is audiobooks. I know a lot of people who really are slow readers and have a hard time concentrating on a physical book in their hand. One way that I've heard to combat, and one way that I personally use quite often, are audiobooks. Audiobooks you can listen to in your car if you're driving, if you've got a long commute, or if you have to walk somewhere super far away. While I was abroad, I was walking and commuting everywhere. I didn't have my car. And since I also had limited luggage space, I didn't want to indulge in buying books that I wouldn't be able to bring home. And so to combat that and still be able to read, I listened to a lot of audiobooks, and they were incredible. They're super fun, they're super fast. You can change the speed setting on them quite easy. I usually listen to them at either 1.5 or 2 times speed, and I got through them in a few hours, depending on the size of the book. But it's really fun to have somebody read to you. I didn't realize this until I started doing this, but it's so much more relaxing. You can open up your hands to do other things like driving, or if you have other work that you want to do but love to listen to things in the background, audiobooks are a great way to go. They do count as reading. I know a lot of people who think that they don't count, but you're still reading a book. It's no different than if you had somebody sitting next to you reading a book to you. And you get to open up your hands and your mind to do other things as well. Lots of people use the app Audible to read books, which is a subscription-based app that you just pay a certain amount of money each month and you can read as many books as you like. However, I like to use the app Overdrive because you can connect it to your local library and it automatically just removes it from your app when you're done. You don't have to worry about returning it. And you have the books to listen to for free on your phone. Audiobooks are a really great route. I know a few friends that really struggle to read physical books but fly through audiobooks because they're quite busy and they have a lot of things to do, but they do still want to enjoy the story. And I think that's a great idea for people who just don't really have the time to read or feel like they can't read a book because they read quite slow. It's a great introduction to reading. If you're not quite sure what you want to read, you can listen to excerpts of different books and see if they're the type of thing you want to spend your time on. And I really recommend them. The second tip that I have for you is dedicating certain times of day to reading. As a student who also works, I like to set aside some time in my day to read, whether that be between classes when I know I don't have enough time to get any actual studying done, or even just setting aside half an hour before bed. Adding reading time to your schedule, if you are quite a busy person who has a lot of different commitments, can be so helpful. When you know that you are going to be setting aside a certain amount of time to complete a task, like just reading a few chapters of your book, you can get through quite a few books in quite a short period of time. Because you don't have to worry about, oh, I should be doing this, or oh, I need to go to work, or blah, 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 blah. You know that in that time that you are setting aside, that is time specifically for you and your book, and you don't have to worry about it. The third tip that I have for you is the one that I use mostly during the summer, is reading on your breaks. I worked in a factory all summer, and I have for the past 3 years, and it takes up quite a bit of my time between commute and the actual work time. And so the way that I managed to get through 40 books in a summer is just by reading during my breaks. I bring my book with me and I can completely escape in between like 15 to 30-minute intervals. It's a great way to dedicate some time to reading, especially if you are working a lot in a week. It's a great way for you to manage to get through quite a few books in a relatively normal period of time. Disclaimer, I do read quite fast, but it's still a very doable goal and still something that many people can utilize. Again, if you wanted to listen to the audiobook while you're at work or listen to your audiobook during your breaks in classes or something like that, it's also a great way to go about it and a great way for you to still be able to enjoy some lovely books. Tip number 4 is probably the most important one. Find the right books. If you really don't like to read fluffy contemporary books set in high school or really steamy romances, don't read them. It's going to take you a lot longer to try and get through a book if you're not enjoying it. Lots of people don't like to stop reading a book even if they aren't enjoying it, and I consider that to be a really big waste of time. I have no shame stopping a book if I really don't like it. It gives me more time to read a book that I'm going to enjoy. A great way for you to figure it out is to just go into your local bookstore or your library or online and just read like the first chapter or the first few pages of a book in each category, in each genre. Whichever one really makes you want to continue reading more, maybe you can pick up some more books in that genre. Another way to find out which kind of books you really like to read is to use the app Goodreads. The app and website Goodreads is a wonderful place for you to find recommendations based off of the books that you've already read. What you can do is go in and add books to your shelf, just look them up in its search engine. And once you've done that, it'll give you an entire page of books curated to your own tastes and the genres that you click off that you know you like. I use it all the time. I'm constantly tracking my book progress on Goodreads and using their reading challenge as well. Each year, at the beginning of the year, you can set a certain number of books that you want to be your goal for the year, and it'll update you with your progress. However many books that you've read, it'll keep updating as you update your profile. And it'll tell you whether or not you're 3 books ahead of schedule or whether or not you're a few books behind schedule. And it'll keep you on top of things and keep you accountable. Like for me, I feel very sad if I don't read enough books in a year. But that's just me personally because I know how much I love it and how much I love the books that I am choosing to read. And it's a great resource for you to meet other people as well that really love the same books as you. You can read reviews, you can leave reviews of your own, and it's a great way for you to find new things to enjoy. And finally, tip number 5 is to try reading with somebody else. If you have a friend that really loves to read and likes to read the same type of things as you, pick out a book together. Reading with a friend or reading with a family member, or even if you want to join like a book club or something like that, there are plenty on YouTube, plenty on Instagram, plenty on Goodreads. It helps, again, keep you accountable. If you know that there are a few other people that really want to talk to you about this book that you've chosen to read, you're more likely to pick it up and more likely to choose it over Netflix or something like that because you want to be able to enjoy the conversation that you have with somebody else about the book. I do this through the readathons that I find on YouTube. I like to set a certain amount of books that I want to read during the week along with everybody else and just talk about them afterwards. I also have a cousin that every time one of our favorite authors writes a book, we set a date to read it together, and we have reading dates, and it's so much fun. This is a great way to do it because you not only are going to get through more books that way, but you're going to have somebody to talk to about that book when you're done. If it completely destroyed you or if it was really warmed your heart, you have somebody to chat about with it afterwards, which is one of the main reasons I'm doing this right now. Okay, thank you guys so much for watching. Those were my 5 tips on how to read more. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please like and leave me a comment with any tips that you have on how to read more and or if you think any of these tips are helpful. Please subscribe if you liked this video and want to see more, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye!